Okay, so here we have a fully assembled Hanayama Zelda Hyrule Crest puzzle. Now before we get into this, let's preface it with saying that this is one of the most fiddly Hanayama puzzles there is, and it is very difficult to keep track of the chain, which is important in the actual solving of this puzzle. Now our aim is to separate this triangle piece from the crest, and we do that by essentially untangling the chain that is connecting them both together. Now to untangle it, what we need to do in very basic terms is take this part of the chain and go around the edge of the chain on this side and around the edge of the chain on this side, and it's as simple as that. Much easier said than done in terms of how you actually solve it, and to do it, what we need to do is first of all bring the majority of the chain down into this position here. Now it doesn't actually matter if you do it the left hand side first or the right hand side first. I'm going to start off by doing the right hand side. Now essentially what I need to do is get that piece through this gap. Now to do that, what I'm going to do is feed this part of the chain through this gap on the right hand side first. Feed it through to the opposite side. Now it's very important you keep track of where the chain is and don't let it twist and get tangled before then getting this part or this end of the chain and placing it through the hoop that you have made. It's important to know which way round you are going as well. We're going top to bottom. The way you know that if you've got it right or not in terms of which way you went through is when you bring the chain back through to this side. It won't look great in terms of, it won't look that close to being solved, but it will look closer like this. Essentially the chain, instead of going over the top, this one going over the top of this one, we've actually got it the other way around. If your puzzle looks more tangled, then you've gone the wrong way around the end of the puzzle, in which case undo what you just did and then do the same thing what you just did again to get it properly untangled. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to get more of the chain on the left hand side and essentially repeat the process that we've just done. So we get lots of the chain here, we then feed it through this gap on the left hand side this time. This is what I mean by very, very fiddly. It is very annoying. The chain seems to go in all the places that you don't want it to go. Once we've fed it through, make sure we're keeping track of where the gaps are and things. And then what we are doing is passing the other end, the left-hand side end, through the loop that we've fed through and then pulling that chain back through. And how do we know we've got it the right way? Is essentially because now we've pretty much untangled it and we can now just take that triangle piece and slide it off the end of the chain. And that is how you disassemble the Zelda Hyrule Crest puzzle. And to reassemble the Hyrule Crest puzzle, we essentially have to do the opposite of what we just did. We have to retangle the triangle around the chain and connect it to the crest piece. Now firstly, we need to drop the chain through the middle of the triangle piece. And it doesn't matter which orientation the triangle is in initially, but when we do put it into this position, we need to make sure the alignment is correct here. So obviously I've got it right this time right here, but if we were to flip it around, it doesn't quite fit in that position. Now the next part is very, very important because we have to not cross over the chain pieces in here. So what we can't let happen is as we drop through this hole in the middle, we can't let the chain cross over. So keep it nice and straight and we drop it straight through. When we do drop it straight through, just double check that each piece is on the right side and the chain hasn't crossed. And then when we've done that, we can bring the piece around here. Now what we're going to do is essentially wrap this part of the chain around the two ends of the chain. And we need a lot of space here, but we also need a little bit of space at the back of the puzzle so we can feed the chain through these two holes one at a time. So firstly, we're going to move the triangle piece out of the way slightly. And then again, not losing track of where we are going, we're going to drop this part of the chain through the hole on the left hand side. And again, don't lose track for which way around it goes. We'll then flip over a little bit as we feed the end of the chain through the loop into this position, and we'll let the chain come back through to the correct side. This is a very, very fiddly puzzle to do. Next, we're going to keep where we were in terms of the orientation with the chain, and we're going to do exactly the same on through the right hole. So we don't let it cross, we feed it through the right hand side, we make sure we've got the loop here, and then we bring the other end of the chain. I'm trying to do this whilst showing you as well as I can, and the end of the chain is going to pass through the loop, and then we make sure it doesn't pass back through the other side, and then what we can do is pull the chain through to the normal side, and that is how you reassemble the chain. What you then need to do is just get the orientation right for the triangle, and in terms of where you want the longest part of the chain, that is completely up to you. And yeah, it's very, very fiddly to get back to an even position, so we're just going to leave it like that. And how you know, I guess as a double checker for make sure you've got it right, if we pull it tight here, there's no crossing over of the chain in these parts, and we've got this chain sort of passing through or over the top just above the hole in the middle, and that is how you reassemble the Hanayama Zelda Hyrule Crest puzzle.